Masechah Shabbos Daf Kuf Mem. The Gemara says that noisnim beya mesanenes, you could put an egg in like a sifter. Lefisha eina oise el lagavan. That means although the yolk goes through the sifter down and the white stays on top, since it's eina oise el lagavan, that means it's going to color the chardal, the mustard seed. Therefore, it's not boyer. Rashi says, since eina oise el lagavan, therefore they're both eichel and it's not boyer. I in the Bach that asks on the Torah that says, like Rashi, that they're both oichel and therefore it's not boyer, that it's tzarchiyin. First of all, what's the svara in eini oise el lagavan? Since you're just doing it for the color, therefore it's not boyer. Why is not boyer? Why does the Torah and Rashi say that it's both oichel? What does it make a difference that they're both oichel? And even on too many oichlin, there is a meleches boyer. So why is that in the sinas tam? Why it shouldn't be boyer? And that the Bach comes to explain that the point over here, why it's not boyer, is since you're not taking a min echod michaveiro lechol, it's not a tikkun oichel b'chlal, it's just making color in the chardel, so therefore it's not meleches boyer b'chlal. And he explains further that there's a makom to say that the white that stays with the psoilus on the top should be considered that you're being boyer the oichel from the psoilus on top. And therefore, that itself should be boyer, because the fact that it's a psoilus gomer, the white that stayed on top, the yellow that went to the bottom should be boyer. On that, the Bach said that the Mefarshim are coming to explain that no, it's shnei mini oichlin, and even the white that's on the top with the psoilus is considered a oichel, and therefore it's not considered boyer. There's two interesting discussions in the Poskim about this halacha. The Taz says that it's mavur from the sugi over here, that if it wouldn't be for Oised Legavon, it would be considered boyer, even though it's pasha to the Taz that the white and the yellow of the egg is considered one min, because if it would be considered two minim, the Taz says, then if it sure should be boyer no matter what. Elamai, the Taz says from over here, you see clearly, like the Taz's opinion in the beginning of Siman Shin Yates, that even in 1 min it passes boyer, the part that you want to eat is the oichel, and what you don't want to eat is the psoilus. And the Taz says, you see that from our sugya. However, the Magen Avram and the Lavush answer to the opinion of the Magen Mishnah that's mavur, that if it's min echad, there's no boyer, like you mentioned the Shia and of Kuf Yadalid. So over here, the reason why it would be boyer is because the white and the yellow of the egg is considered two different minim. I in the Pri Megadim that says that this machloikis, if the white and the yellow of the egg is considered 1 min or 2 min, would have other nafkaminas lagabe bittul va'ayin sham. The Pri Megadim writes that over here you see another chiddush in Hilchas boyer. That what's the halacha of boyer when you take oichel, you take psoilus, and you don't have a mind to eat any of the 2 minim right now, only la'achazman. And the Pri Megadim writes from our sugis, you see that it's mutter, that over here, since you're only doing it l'gavon, and you're not eating any of the 2 parts of the egg, therefore it's mutter. However, the Bir Halacha in the beginning of Siman Shin Yates argues very strongly on this Pri Megadim, and he says it's mashmat from the Rambam that the ikar meleches boyer is the fact that you're taking and separating 1 min from the other. And specifically, when you take oichel in your hand and you have a mind to eat it right away, it's not considered derech breira, it's derech oichel. However, if you're not eating it right away, it is considered boyer. And he says that the Pri Megadim brings a raya from our sugya is not a raya, because over here by Chelbein and Chelmoin, both of the two are not oimid lachila la'olam, so therefore it's not boyer. But if you boyer min echol lechaveroi and daito lechol achazman, it is considered boyer. Moving further on, the Mishnah says, Ein shoylin esar kashinin b'mayim ein shofin oison, because it's boyer, you're putting vegetables into water to get off the dirt, it's boyer. The Mishnah Berurah writes that the same thing will pertain to potatoes. If you go and put them in water, it'll be meleches boyer. Moshe has a tshuva. What's the halacha if you're washing off fruit in order to eat it? Is it boyer or not? So Moshe says it's not considered boyer. He says, first of all, when you're washing off fruit to eat, ordinarily you're eating it derech achila, and derech achila is not considered boyer. He says another svara that most people could eat fruit without washing it off. So in such a situation, it's mavur by mayim, it has kismin, small kismin in it, and yayin, that small kismin in it, is not considered boyer if you take out the kismin, since it's royal achila even without the boyer. And then Moshe says another svara that the only time will be considered boyer over here is if you put the fruit in the water and then the psoiles, the dirt comes to the top. That is a ma'aser boyer. However, if you just rinse off the dirt from the fruit, that's not considered boyer b'chlal. And he brings a proof in the fact that the halacha is that you're allowed to rinse the kalim and the kairos, like the mitzvah in the sugin of kuf yud ches. You see, rinsing off dirt from dishes is not considered boyer. However, the Chut Shani brings down from the Chazon Ish held that it is considered boyer, and he says it's different than kalim, because over here, peiros, by taking off the dirt, you're being machsher la'achila. However, by kalim, since it's the derech of dishes to get dirty and to be rinsed off, it's not considered like you're being mesakin the kli b'chlal, so it doesn't have a shame boyer b'chlal. Moving further on, the Gemara Beis says, Barbi Rav de Lesle Mishcha Nimshi b'mayed the charitzi. The Chasam Sofer over here says a very yesodistic point that he learns in this Gemara Derech HaMotzah, Olimut Schus, in what became widespread in his generation, that is a tremendous riboy of people saying Chiddushei Torah. And Kol Echad Boine Bomal Atzmoi, and that wasn't like it was in previous generations. So the Chasam Sofer said, what's the pshat, what's the limud schus? On that he says, the pshat is that the Kadmoinim understood that because since of the ribuya shikchas haTorah in the generation and the people's mind wasn't as clear to remember Torah, so therefore the Kadmoinim instigated that people should be mechadish chidushei Torah, and the fact that they have a chiddush on each blot and each omid and a milsa, the tmiya, the kiri, the inchi, a new enlightening insight will make a person remember, and through that chiddush you remember the whole inyan. And the Chasam Sofer says that he sees it in himself, that through the chidushei Torah he remembers the whole inyan, and he writes that even Lu Yitzur, the chiddush is not emes so much, but it's still moyel the zikaron. It still helps the zikaron, and he says that's what the Gemara means over here. The Barbi Rav Leishchichle Mishcha, he doesn't have Mishcha, which is referring to the zikaron of Torah Kedoshah. He should be Limshi Yodi b'mayed the Charitzi, with the Charifos of the Torah. He'll be able to desire the Torah of Ayin Sham.